What's going on, ACC football fans? My name is Joe Wagner, and I am your host as always, alongside Brent Allegra and Braden Wilkins. We're here to talk about the Atlantic Coastal Conference. Brent, how are we feeling on this beautiful Wednesday?
Oh, I'm feeling good. It's getting to be late July, so I'm really starting to itch for football. Today I was watching a lot of Giants training camp highlights, just really trying to get myself in the mood because there's not a lot of sports going on right now. So I am ready for football to start, NFL and college. So let's go.
Let's go. Braden, how we doing?
I'm doing so great. Brent, you said it just as I would. We're getting close now in the dog days of summer.
All I got to say is I'm a big fan of this conference, and we kind of dissed a little bit on the Big 12 last week. So, boys, we have a little bit of momentum to kick under our belts to start today. But hey, first of all, you might notice in the background a little newness to the Sports Outlet show, starting to get cleaned up a little bit. Still some things to tune in and turn out a little bit. Braden, you look a little cut there a little, but we'll get it. There we go. That's how we got to get the segment. Let's stand up straight. Let's work on the structure, right? Hey, we may be becoming famous now. Who knows? Thanks to everybody that tuned into the Big 12 podcast. That's the biggest crowd we've ever had. Appreciate the fan interaction so much. For those of you that don't know who we are, we started in 2019 just in a basement in Stevens City, Virginia, with a laptop and four mics at the time that you clipped onto your chest. So the fact we have some awesome graphic design, I'll go straight into that from Alex McGoon. Thank you so much for all that you do for us. Shout out him as well. Go check him out and all the stuff he does. He's an incredible graphic design and media content person, but an even better friend. So really cool what he's doing for us here at the Sports Outlet Show. But it's so cool to see how this has grown in just, as I say, 6 short years that we've been putting context and content together. But without further ado, I'll stop boring you on the history. We know why you're here, and it's for the Boston College Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles, 7-6 last season, 4-4 in the conference. They started their season off with a bang in week 1, beating number 10 at the time, Florida State, 28-13, back when we still thought that they were any good. They did lose their bowl game in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl versus Nebraska, 20-15. Their head coach, former NFL guy Bill O'Brien. It's his second season. That was his first year back as a head coach after taking a hiatus to coordinate at Alabama and for the Patriots. My player to watch is going to be Lewis Bond. He's a senior wide receiver. Last year, he had 67 catches for 689 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 10.3 yards per reception. His numbers weren't jaw-dropping by any means. His highest per game was 102. And sometimes he was just straight up unproductive. He had 7 catches for 21 yards against Western Kentucky University for about 3 yards per reception. Their former quarterback Castellanos, transferred to Florida State. The new starter, Grayson James, did have some game time last year and gelled okay with Lewis Bond. Their top recruit is going to be Tommy Matheson. He's a senior center out of Princeton. He's the only starter that is a transfer that is listed on the depth chart currently. Their over-under this year is set at 5.5. Their floor is going to be 3-9 for me, and their ceiling is going to be 7-5. And that's going to be determined by week 6 at Pittsburgh. It's the middle of a pack ACC opponent. Picking up a win here would give them some positive momentum before their roughest part of their schedule, before they take on Clemson, Louisville, Notre Dame, and SMU in 4 of the following 5 weeks. So Boston College, not a great ACC team to start with here in 2025. I have them going 4-8 this season.
You're saying we're not getting a Bill O'Brien special?
Not this year, no.
Well, that's upsetting, Braden. I was really hoping for it.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, big loss at the quarterback position, as you mentioned. We'll talk about Tommy Castellanos a little bit later. No, not related to Nick Castellanos. And no, he did not hit a home run yesterday, unless I'm crazy. I don't think so. Somebody in the comments will fact check me if that's incorrect. So that's what we appreciate about honesty around here. Braden, I'll let you actually go ahead and pull up. You did a little bit of homework for us about some accountability we wanted at the Sports Outlet Show. I'll give you a second to pull that up of what we said about Boston College last year and how it actually turned out. if you still have that on your notes app. So
yeah, give me 1 second here.
Yep, we'll kick into Duke here in just a second, but a little more context behind the Sports Outlet Show. What we do here in our College Summer Super Series, 4 years in a row, we've done it very similar with a couple tweaks. We always give you your record of 2024, go into some head coach, how long they've been there, the record they have. We like to keep it short and sweet. We don't want to keep people here till midnight. It's not the ACC media days like it is in Charlotte right now. We like to give you the coach season record. We go over our top player to watch. It's boring to do a quarterback every time, so if I don't mention your quarterback, I'm sorry. Kicking it over to a top transfer or recruit, we like to give the freshman recruits some shout outs too, especially if they're going to be a day one presence on campus. We like to give your over-under wins. We understand there's some gambling fans out here. Floor ceiling to get you a little idea of what could go to head coach firing versus we could be a dynasty champion, right? And then obviously your game to watch and final projection. So we could sit here and talk about the players all week long, or we could just give you a synopsis. Braden, do you have analysis on Boston College and who we need to boo?
Yeah, Joe, it's you. Last year you predicted them to go 3-9. They did a little bit better than that, going 7-6.
Well, I thought, as Carson mentioned, we were talking about the Bridgewater Eagles, so
okay.
I don't know what to do anymore.
We can talk about Bridgewater too. I mean,
we are getting a lot of not D1 schools in the comments. Maybe we need to become a less than group of 5 frenzy podcast. Maybe that's, what, sneak peek for next year. We'll do some locals.
I think D3 football would be huge. I mean, it's a huge market, so I think we should squeeze that in.
How long until we just start talking about high school football? That'd be crazy if we just we just got into somebody's those morning agendas and we started getting in every school's college football preview for high schools. But hey, Sports Outlet Show, you never know what's going on here. Let's kick it over to the Duke Blue Devils, Brent.
Yeah, Duke. I mean, everyone acts shocked when Duke football is actually good. But here's the thing. Duke has more wins, 26 over the last 3 seasons, than Florida State, who has 25, and Miami, who has 22. That's not a typo. Duke football has been pretty good in the ACC. Duke's had 7 8+ win seasons in the last 12 years under 3 different head coaches. And now Manny Diaz, in his second season, has a smart, tough, aggressive team that should keep it rolling in an ACC that's not very competitive, to say the least. The defense is nasty. It's returning stars like cornerback Chandler Rivers, who had 9 pass breakups and 3 picks last year. Defensive tackle Aaron Hall, safety Terry Moore, and edge Wesley Williams lead a unit built to hit. Offensively, Duke is betting big on quarterback Michael Menza, the $8 million transfer from Tulane. He was efficient last year. He completed 66% of his passes and had a 22 touchdown to 6 interception ratio. But now he'll need to take over games, especially making that leap to the ACC. Will he be a clear upgrade over Malik Murphy? Duke is definitely gambling on it. My floor for this team is 7-5 if Menza struggles and the defense regresses. My ceiling is 10-2 if the quarterback lives up to the price tag and Diaz's D dominates. My game to watch, it's easy. It's week 3 at Tulane, where Mensa returns to face his old team. Drama incoming. That'll be a revenge game for Mr. Menza. All right, let's be honest. Duke, is it a basketball school? Sure. But the football team keeps winning, and we shouldn't act surprised by that. My prediction is 9-3, and quietly one of the ACC's most complete teams.
Wow. Are you saying NFL school, Brent?
I think it might be a football school. I think it might be. No more Cooper Flagg.
Cooper Flagg, Zion Williamson, JJ Redick. We can keep this going.
I don't know the next up-and-coming Duke basketball talent, but I'm sure there is one in the wings.
I'm pretty sure there's like a 5-star freshman that hasn't even been on campus and is talking smack already. I think I saw a quote about it, but we don't talk a lot of basketball.
That's true.
Anyways, speaking of a team that has some historically great players, let's talk about the California Golden Bears. Going into his 9th season as head coach, Justin Wilcox. Braden, we were talking a little bit pre-podcast about their coaches in the ACC with a hot seat. He might be number one. Talking about Wilcox, a professional, said that the pressure is now mounting in Berkeley, California. Obviously hired in January 2017 before the Sports Outlet Show even was a tenure. Only having 2 winning seasons in those 8 in 2018 and 2019, putting them back to back. One was a 7-win season, one was an 8. So not exactly a full-on blown winning. He has made 4 bowl game appearances as well. And the Cal Golden Bears started hot, right? They won their first 3 games. They went into Auburn, Alabama, smacked them 21-14. They said, hey, ACC ball can ball too, right? Then it was a string of losses in a row. It was a bit of an issue for Cal. They turned their attention to star because he didn't really play, star backup quarterback Devin Brown, who never got his shot with the Buckeyes. Obviously, the backup to NFL talents in Kyle McCord and Will Howard decides he's going to take his talents to the West Coast in Cal this upcoming season. He only threw for 331 yards and 3 touchdowns in his 3 years there from 2022 to 24, but is identifying obviously as a junior redshirting that first year. Guy to watch on the defensive side of the ball, apologies if I mispronounce, is Hezekiah Masses. He is a transfer from FIU. He's 6'1" and 170 pounds in the backfield. He had 38 tackles at FAU for the Panthers, 24 of those solo, tackle for loss, a pick, and 4 pass deflections, which is nothing to sneeze at, says Braden. I had to use it early and often. Just my Braden and I have been talking about it all week. It's my new favorite phrase. I just love it. Another guy that we can't go on without mentioning, who had a monster 2023 season, who's fully coming back this year, is Cade Ula-Ava. I'm not a ukulele or ukulele. It's Uluave. These guys have some difficult names to pronounce, but we're doing our best. Look for him to be a leader at the linebacker position as well. Their over-under set at 6.5 wins on FanDuel. Their floor is 4-8. Their ceiling is 8-4. So flip that any way you want. Game to watch for me is Week 3 versus Minnesota. I think it's a big chance for a Big Ten opponent to come into Berkeley for them to, Minnesota's not a fantastic team, but they are a team that are going to beat you in the trenches. So really interested to see what Cal and Devin Brown has early on in 2024. Other than that, my final prediction for them is that this team will go 5-7. I think they may be looking a different direction at head coach after this year. I think that seat is a little warm going into your 9th season and only winning 2. Again, but it is ACC ball, so who am I to say? As always, got my fun fact for you guys here for Cal. Braden, you'll like this one specifically. Cal football claims the first ever goalpost safety in college football history. It was in 1976 versus Stanford. So there you go, Braden.
Love it. Makes my day.
Talked about it last week. But let's travel over, 2,000 miles at least to Raleigh, North Carolina, because apparently the ACC is coast to coast.
Yeah, the Atlantic Coast Conference got teams on the Pacific. We love it.
Do we need to be the ACC, Atlantic Coast to Coast Conference?
Ooh,
ACCC.
I like that.
3 C's.
American just changed theirs, so
yeah,
we got to.
Hey, the loyal Memphis Tigers backed it too, right?
Yeah, but anyway, back here on the East Coast, the Wolfpack went 6-7 last year, 3-5 in the conference. They lost the Military Bowl versus ECU 26-21. Their head coach Dave Doeren is in his 13th season. He's gone 87-65 with the Wolfpack. It's his 16th season as head coach overall. He's 110-69 in his full career. My player to watch is going to be their quarterback, CJ Bailey. He's a sophomore. True freshman last year. He threw for 2,413 yards, 17 touchdowns, 10 picks on 64.5% completion percentage with 5 rushing touchdowns, and he only started 9 games. That's because he was not supposed to be the guy going into the season. Grayson McCall out of Coastal Carolina was expected to come in and be the starter for most of the year. He had an undisclosed injury early on that kept him out of a couple games and a scary head injury that hospitalized him against Wake Forest, leading in part to his retirement from the game of football. He's doing fine now. He's got employed at Coastal Carolina as an offensive analyst, but we're here to talk about CJ Bailey. He's now the man. He is the starter going into this year, and he has experience, so he should be much more comfortable than he was last year, and they should expect big things from him. Their top transfer in is going to be Brian Nelson II. He's a sophomore cornerback from North Texas. He's going to slide into this great corner rotation in the secondary. He might not make an immediate impact because they are pretty deep there, but if he can play the way he did at North Texas, he'll be a pretty solid part of the secondary. Last year, he had 53 tackles, 4 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble. Their over-under set at 6.5, and I think that's pretty close to what they're going to be. I think their floor is at 5-7, and their ceiling's at 9-3. The most important game to watch is going to be Week 4 at Duke. They should be 3-0 going into Durham. This will be their first real test. Winning on the road against a solid Duke football team should boost the confidence of their young quarterback as they prepare to take on the toughest parts of their schedule in the back half of the year. That being said, I have them going 8-4 and taking a big step up. But I did talk about them last year and had them going 8-4 last year as well. So we'll see what happens.
You thought DJ Burns was going to join the team, though. I don't blame you.
I did. Absolute beast.
That would have been two wins different for sure.
Exactly.
I mean, that's all we can say. Do we have to talk about the next team?
Oh boy.
Are we legally obligated?
Oh boy.
9-4? Huh.
Yeah, 9-4. 9-4.
I'm pretty sure it says 9-4.
Mm.
We're not biased on this podcast. I'm just a college football fan. Can't totally see what Brent and I are wearing, and probably Braden too.
Hey, Mr. Daquan Felton, who definitely did catch that ball. He's a member of the Giants right now, looking to make the team. So I'm really hopeful. I'm really hopeful for my boy.
I hope there are no refs at your practice.
Yeah, sadly there is.
Well, we'll understand then.
My tagline for Miami this year is, can the U finally break through? After building the foundation and stacking talent, year 4 under Mario Cristobal, it could be the one. Last season's number 1 offense in the ACC returns elite linemen, a shiny new quarterback, and serious college football playoff expectations if they don't Syracuse themselves again. On the offensive side of the ball, out goes Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick to the Tennessee Titans in this year's draft. In comes Carson Beck, who a lot of people say looks like Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. I'm not going to be that mean myself. I would never say something like that. But some people say that. The former Georgia quarterback, he threw for nearly 4,000 yards and 24 touchdowns last year before an elbow injury. If he stays healthy, he might be the best quarterback in the ACC. But obviously there's a lot of good contention there, especially with Cade Klubnik from Clemson. Up front, Francis Mauoga. I probably butchered that name. I shouldn't, though, because he is an NFL top 5 level right tackle and the engine of Cristobal's trench-heavy identity. He is going to be the key piece to that offensive line this year. This front on the defensive side of the ball, it's violent. Reuben Bain Jr., he's another NFL caliber guy, NFL caliber edge. He's back healthy after a banged up 2024. He had 7.5 sacks and 12.5 tackles for loss as a freshman. Now it's time to dominate. Additionally, they have Akeem Mesidor, the team's sack leader from last season. He's going to move outside while Ahmad Moten, Justin Scott, and David Blay add size and punch inside. This front 4 is deep, versatile, and mean. In the secondary, Wisconsin transfer Xavier Lucas joins all-star O.J. Frederick at corner to form a strong duo. There are questions at safety, but the corners should hold it down while the back end gels. My floor for Miami is 8-4 if Beck falters, if he doesn't rise to the level that Cam Ward played at last season. And my ceiling is 11-1 and college football playoff bound if the offense stays humming and they beat 2 of SMU, Florida, and Notre Dame. Speaking of Notre Dame, my game to watch is week 1 versus Notre Dame. If you want to be a playoff team, prove it in prime time in the first week of the season. Go out and get a win. It would be a huge, huge statement for the Hurricanes. Last year, I predicted them to go 7-5. I was a little bit of a Miami hater. They proved me pretty wrong. They went 10-3, but again, they had college football playoff hopes, and Syracuse crushed those dreams gladly after seeing what they did to Virginia Tech. But my prediction this year, I'm going to be a little bit nicer. I'm going to go 10-2. I think they're loaded enough to compete for the ACC, but the question is, will they?
Well, unfortunately, I think the only other team that can compete with that is about to be discussed next. Yep. But first of all, Miami coming to Blacksburg November 22nd. It's going to be loud. If you need your tickets, I know a guy. Anyways, that leads us into the Clemson Tigers. A very, very interesting year for Cade Klubnik and company. Obviously, the slam dunk favorites to be the college football playoff team going into the fall. Somehow ended up doing it, but didn't deserve it, really, is what most people will say about these Tigers, saying that if they did not have a buy-in, that they would not have made this tournament, and they're probably right with some of the talent that was left out. I mean, especially talking about the Crimson Tide that actually got it handed to them a little bit. So anyways, let's talk about the Clemson Tigers of 2025. I mean, head coach, you've probably heard him. You've probably seen him somewhere. His name's Dabo Swinney. I always mess that up every time. He's got an awesome name. But we kick it over to the Clemson Tigers, right? 10-4 last year, 7-1 your ACC champions. Obviously, SMU takes home the regular title, but Clemson is able to take them out in the ACC championship in Bank of America. They ended up losing in the first round to Texas 38-24. Let's talk about Dabo a little bit more into this past season. In 2024, you guys may know the name Bobby Bowden. He actually passed him as the ACC's all-time winningest coach this past season. Clemson has been known as the powerhouses of ACC football. You think powerhouse, you think Clemson and Florida State. Clemson has continued to reign supreme in that. We continue over to talk about Swinney, who has gone 180-47 in his tenure with the Tigers going into year 18. Just honestly impressive from the start. He's been known as one of the best college football coaches of all time. And now he is a projected first-round pick coming into his senior season in Cade Klubnik, who Brad Crawford says is the best quarterback in college football this season. Talk about Garrett Nussmeier. We'll talk about Arch Manning. Cade Klubnik is in the conversation. Last year, people said he couldn't show up in the big moments. Obviously, getting torched in week 1 by Georgia was an embarrassment in Atlanta. First of all, if you look at his stats, I don't know what we're talking about with this kid. He threw for 3,600 yards. He had 36 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He had 463 yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground. That combines for 43 touchdowns, which is a Cam Newton-style MVP season. So let's stop the conversation there when we're talking about the Heisman as well this upcoming year. Going on the back end, we like to talk about the transfer portal first, but I do have a guy I want to mention because it'd be disgusting to this podcast to not say the name Brian Bresee. He is a defensive tackle, All-American, first-round pick, top 5 potential. He was an absolute monster last year. 64 tackles, 19.5 TFLs. He had 11 sacks in the backfield and 6 forced fumbles, which is a Clemson Tigers school record. Kicking it over back to their best transfer they took from a Big Ten Purdue. His name is Will Helt. He had 56 tackles, 10 of those for loss, and 5 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery that he took to the house for a tutty. Always love to see when an edge can take it to the house, right? The Clemson Tigers are set at 9.5 wins. You look at their schedule, they avoid a lot of ACC foes, but they do have a very interesting start and end to their schedule. In week 1, they will be in Clemson playing against LSU and Garrett Nussmeier, which is debatably one of the biggest matchups on August 30th. After that, they have to defend their title. It's them versus South Carolina in the Battle of SC. That one will be in Columbia. That game may have playoff implications that have nothing to do with the ACC. I absolutely think this Clemson Tigers team got better over the offseason, and they were already pretty good. With Klubnik having this extra season under his belt with Dabo, I think this is your team to watch in the ACC. Their floor for me is set at 8-4, with their ceiling at 12-0. And I think they drop either one of the LSU South Carolinas. I think this team goes perfect in ACC play and goes 11-1, going into a top 4 seed into the postseason. A little bit about last season. Braden had this team at 9-3, and they went 10-4. So Braden, anytime you're within one win, that's a pat on the back.
Let's go.
Fun fact for Clemson, and this is a weird one because I thought it'd be ECU. Clemson was the first college football team to wear all purple uniforms in a game.
Huh. Interesting.
There's your fun facts. Cade Klubnik, watch out for him. He's a Heisman candidate, and he's playing in what is a really rough and tough ACC this season. With that being said, I will give Braden the floor for the biggest story this offseason. We have kids at home, so.
Yeah, UNC, the Tar Heels, I don't know what the story you could be talking about is. They went 6-7 last year, 3-5 in conference. Not a great season for them. They started off 3-0 with a soft non-conference schedule, and then they went on a skid of 4 straight losses, starting with JMU dropping 70 points on their heads. So they did end up 6-6 in the regular season. They lost the Fenway Bowl versus UConn, 27-14. Oh, this might be what you're talking about, Joe. Their head coach is a man who needs no introduction. Bill Belichick. It's his first season in college. That man is a 6-time Super Bowl champion. He's the 3rd winningest head coach in NFL history. He has 302 wins and 165 losses. He has the most postseason wins of an NFL head coach with 31 and Super Bowl championships. Welcome to college, Bill Belichick. To prepare, he has been spending time with college-age people. But we're going to move right past that and talk about we're going to talk about some 2 transfers from Washington that he's bringing in. They're bringing in senior cornerback Thaddeus Dixon out of Washington, 43 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 interception, 10 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble last year. So this kid might not catch a lot of interceptions, but he gets his hand on the ball quite a bit. They're also bringing in Kamori House. He's a sophomore linebacker from Washington. He had 35 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception, 4 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. This UNC team has a top 10 transfer class in the nation. 9 of their 11 defensive starters are transfers, and as well as a lot of depth on offense. On that offensive side of the ball, keep an eye on the quarterbacks. They did bring in Gio Lopez out of South Alabama, but if he starts to falter early on, keep an eye on 4-star freshman Bryce Baker. He's the 12th best quarterback in this class, and he could see some playing time this year. This team is set at 7.5 wins. I think there's a couple different scenarios for this UNC team. Like I said, there's a lot of turnover on the defensive side of the ball. I had their floor at 7-5 and their ceiling at 11-1. Their schedule isn't too tough, but one game to watch is going to be Week 6 versus Clemson. That's Bill Belichick's introduction to the ACC by the favorites in the conference. This game is going to be massive when it comes to ACC title hopes and could even be a preview for the title game if Bill Belichick is able to do his thing. That being said, I do have this team going 8-4 this year. Good year for Bill Belichick to start. Not where he wants to be when you're used to winning championships, but I think he's going to be okay with that. Last year, Joe spoke about them. He predicted them to go 10-2.
I was so high on this team.
Yeah, they actually went 6-7. Definitely a disappointing year for UNC last year.
I thought Omar Ryan Hampton was going to take him straight to Charlotte. I don't
He
understand.
did. He had like 1,600 yards. He did as much as he could.
They have the secret weapon now with Jordan, Jordan Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be a huge assistant coach for the team.
Exactly.
Braden talked about her a little bit already. But I don't want to put any disrespect on her name because she is 24 at least. So at least she's like graduate school age. Like
right, exactly.
So she's a little past college at this point.
My fault.
All I have to say is this, and it's 2 things about Bill Belichick. Is the first that the defensive side of the ball has always been pertinent in Tom Brady winning Super Bowls. And Braden highlighted two transfers of or a transfer and a returning defensive player, correct? So I think
those were both transfers from Washington.
Okay.
I brought both those guys.
Both transfers anyway. So Bill Belichick is continuing to build the right way in college. It's interesting to see how it's going to how it works in the NFL, how it's going to work in college. The other thing with Belichick is, I mean, this happened today. So having you can't really see it. There you go.
Wow.
So UNC completely sold out of their entire ticket allotments on a single game basis. So it is going to be loud, and it's going to be Chapel Hill fans and people from Boston that have never been to Chapel Hill in their lives. So that's about it. But
sorry, real quick, you said they had two defensive transfers from Washington.
Yep.
Did you mention that Steve Belichick is the Washington defensive coordinator? That's a little collusion going on there.
Something going on there.
I think we have something going on at the family Thanksgiving we need to talk about.
Yep. Stealing players from each other.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Another really interesting team, Brent. We've had four really back to back here. Let's talk about the Middletown Mustangs, a Southern Methodist.
Oh.
They give me every year, man.
Yeah, SMU. They bet on itself by joining the ACC without a penny of TV money until 2032. The expectation going into last season was that they'd be a warm-up game. The result, they ran the table in the ACC and took the trophy home. So don't call them a fluke. They kept their stars, killed it in the portal, and brought in a top recruiting class. So now they're more talented, deeper, and confident. SMU really, really surprised a lot of people last year. Let me see who had them last year. Braden predicted them at 7-5, which actually going into the season, I think was actually like pretty optimistic for SMU. But in reality, they crushed that even and went 10-4. So obviously huge season for SMU last year. Their head coach is Rhett Lashley. He's entering his fourth season and bolstered an impressive 29-12 record since taking the helm. On offense, Kevin Jennings is still that guy. Alabama even sniffed around trying to see if he would transfer to them, but he stayed. And that loyalty matters. He tossed for 3,300 yards and 23 touchdowns and added an additional 5 on the ground and leads one of the ACC's most balanced attacks. As insurance, in case Kevin Jennings were to go down, they did bring in Tyler Van Dyke. He brings Power 5 experience as an insurance option. Addison Nichols was a huge transfer for them. He was from Arkansas previously. Really good offensive guard and will help solidify the interior. And then my last prediction on the offense, I just really think they're going to score in bunches this season and really, really continue on what they did last year. Going over to the defensive side of the ball, after having the best defense in the whole ACC last year, SMU looks to continue its dominance in 2025. The secondary is elite and leads a fast, aggressive unit. Isaiah I'm probably butchering the name, Nwakobia, he's the anchor. He had 100 tackles and 3 interceptions last year, and he brings all the energy. Jalen Davis-Robinson and Deuce Harmon, they form a playmaking corner duo. And then Ahmad Moses and the nickel group give Lashley real versatility. So a lot of talent on that back end there. My key game is Week 7 at Clemson. It's an ACC title game rematch. If you win this one, the playoff talk gets really real once again for SMU. SMU isn't sneaking up on anyone this year. They're the hunted now. They're the ACC champs. But with Jennings, a loaded secondary, and a head coach who's built something real in Dallas, a second straight ACC title is 100% on the table. My prediction is 10-2.
I'm a fan.
They were huge last year, and I think they got even better. The problem is Clemson also got better. So we'll see where things go.
That's true. So now is about the time we kick it over to the Florida State Mustangs, but I think you got Mustangs, this Florida State Seminoles. but I think you guys know that's not going to happen because we've hit the halfway point. Braden, what does that mean?
You're going to ask us some questions, and I think it's going to be fun.
I think it is going to be fun. This one, I cannot take all the credit for. My beautiful fiance, Kelby, helped with this ranking list just earlier today. So very excited to get this one underway. And she will be judging you critically for every single one of these answers. So it's life or death. And it's not a joke, Braden. I'm just kidding. We're doing a blind top 10 of your nostalgic childhood foods. Brent and Braden, you'll be tag team in this one to make a list. I'll let you guys, while I get things set up, I want a debate of why each one of you should get to go first.
I think I am younger, so I think I'm closer to childhood. So I think my memory might be a little bit better, and I think I can predict what's going to go where they should at this point.
Honestly, Braden, you convinced me. You got it, man. You got it. That was a solid argument.
Wow. Brent Allegra, not my lawyer if I ever get in the crash. That is for sure.
Your Honor,
I can't beat that.
Your Honor, that was a pretty good point. Take him away.
Let me make sure that the test works. All right. You know, I ain't got my monitor display up this time, so we're budget friendly over here. Let's do that. Boom. All right. Braden, number 1. This has been randomly organized, but we took the top 10 from ChatGPT and mixed it up just a little bit. But here we go. Number 1, your first option is Scooby-Doo fruit snacks. Where are we putting it on this list?
Oh, my gosh. Those are so good.
I do like the blue ones.
The blue ones, yeah.
The blue ones are top tier.
I'm trying to think what else could be on this list.
It's so specific.
Yeah. I think I might go pretty conservative here. I think number 5 is a good spot for them. I think the fact that they don't exist anymore boosts them up a little bit, but there's still better things out there.
I will mention that some of these things do still exist. So if that changes anything for you.
Okay.
Brent, kicking it over to you. Number 2, this is still in the cabinet at my parents' house. SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan. Braden, I don't know. Are you a big fan of SpaghettiOs?
You know, I think they're good. I think they're a good option, but I think there's a lot of better options out there. So yeah. I'm liking your thought process here.
I think most of these, I don't know for sure, but I think most of these are going to be pretty good foods. I think I'm going to put it at 9. I'm going to test the waters a bit.
All right. Let's see if I know how to spell spaghetti. You're getting judged in my text chat, but I'll save it. I'll save it.
I hear the buzz.
The buzz is going off, and we have question marks and exclamations everywhere. But I'll let Kelby come to you at the end of this podcast and storm up the steps, and we'll talk about. If you don't see Brent and Braden on the podcast next week, you know this was just terrible rankings. Braden, kicking it over to you at number 3, and you have to pick a specific kind when you rank it. Is Lunchables.
Ooh, you know, in elementary school, I had Lunchables pretty often. See, you got the classic. You got the ham and cheese and crackers. You got the pizza.
Hold on. It has to be the pizza Lunchables. Came in.
Okay, I think that's what I would have gone with anyway.
Okay.
I love the pizza, hot or cold. If you have a chance to eat them up, that's great. If not, it's also great cold. Considering how many of them I ate, I think I'm probably going to put them at like 4. I think I'm good with that.
All right. Pizza Lunchables at 4. Whew, Braden. Number 4. Number 4 is good old fashioned, good for any party. We got some pizza rolls in the chat.
Oh, heck yes. Yeah. Pizza rolls are going to be near the top. It does stink that like pizza Lunchables will be pretty close, but I think it's still going to be a solid list. Ah, man, it's hard not to put it at 1. I don't know if there's going to be anything better. I got to leave 1 open for now. I'm going to put it at 2.
Oh, you're going to have an unhappy fan.
Kelby doesn't like pizza rolls? Come on.
It's at number 1, dude. Come on.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that's a fair point.
It's the only answer. Let's see here. Going into, let's see, it'll be our 5th option. So back to you, Braden. Uncrustables, peanut butter, and jelly.
I might get a lot of slack for this one.
Uh-oh.
I was not a huge fan.
Braden.
I know. My love of peanut butter did not develop until later on in my life, so I kind of missed out on this phase. But I do respect them, so I think I'll put them at like 7.
All right.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry to let you guys down. I'm sorry.
It's all good,
It was a lunch staple for me. Anytime Tammy let me have the Uncrustables, it was goated for me. Carson says it's number 1.
I apologize, Carson. Well,
Going into number 6, we have Brent, I'm going to throw you for a whirlwind here. It is SpongeBob mac and cheese.
I think I remember eating this like twice in my childhood. I remember the box. It was Kraft, right? Pretty sure it was Kraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Kraft mac and cheese. You're correct.
I mean, it's mac and cheese at the end of the day. I don't know if the SpongeBob makes it any better. Maybe a little bit better. Man, I gotta go 6. It's still mac and cheese, but I don't think it's anything like special.
We got some interesting spots left over here.
Yeah, you guys have the top, the bottom, and then a podium finish, and then a very non-podium finish. So, okay, I think I might know where this one's going for Braden. Braden, for your 7th, it is the Twinkie.
The Twinkie. Okay. Just some lore in the family or the fantasy space. Again, didn't eat too many of them. It's got to go 8. I just didn't eat them that much.
Joe, explain the Twinkie story to us for the people that don't know.
Oh, it took me a second. So our fantasy football league is going into year 10. And year number 1, I was at the 6th pick and someone else was at the 1 pick. I won't name names. We won't call out here on the Sports Outlet Show. But I traded at lunch my Twinkie for the number 1 overall pick. And that guy was Antonio Brown, and we raised a banner in year 1. So use your Twinkies responsibly, people, okay? It's that trade barter, the school lunch table, there's nothing better. Nothing like it.
You fleeced them.
I did. I won a championship. Some say that's the 2017 Astros of our league, but I'm counting it. Number 8, and we'll wait to see from the professional Kelby on what specific type. But number 8 coming to you, is it Brent now? Yeah, Brent is Pop-Tarts. So.
Oh, yes. Number 1. Number 1. I'm going for it.
You don't even need to know? Don't even need to know.
Wait, did you have a specific flavor?
I'm waiting for a review. S'mores Pop-Tart.
Oh, no. Dude, you can't do that to me. You could have picked so many better flavors.
Uh-oh.
That changes things. If it was brown sugar cinnamon or like the chocolate ones or the hot fudge sundae ones, easy one. S'mores Pop-Tarts? I guess I'm going to put them at 3 because they're not worthy of being 10, but they're not worthy of being 1 either. So I'm going to put it at 3.
I feel like it always happens this way. 1 in 10 left over.
Yep.
Good grief. Here we go. Number 9. So you're either blinding a 1 or a 10. Braden, you have a decision to make. It's the Danimals.
Danimals, okay. I did enjoy me a Danimals back in the day. Was it a number 1 though? I don't think I can do that.
Brent puts you in a bad position.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't think I can put him at 1, so I'm comfortable putting him at 10.
I remember the Zach and Cody commercials with the Danimals. Win a free trip was always the big stick there.
I'm gonna keep you in suspense here for a moment while we pull up number 1.
I know my personal bias to some of those legends, Uncrustables and Twinkies, is not something that most people would share, but they're just not something that were too big a part of my childhood.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the fans are gonna like this list. I don't even know if I like it myself. So
What do you guys think is at number one? Let's just ask you, what was your favorite childhood snack? What was it? Snack, food, whatever. That was your one.
it was goldfish for me, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'd say probably Oreos, but Oreos is also like an adult. I feel like that can also be like an adult food as well. So
Yeah,
probably not on there.
But
I feel like you guys won't be upset with what's at number one.
okay, it's good to know.
At number one, it was not mentioned, but it's Dino Nuggets.
Oh, I thought of that as soon as you said childhood snacks. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
This
is your list.
I'm okay with it. I definitely would have made a lot of changes. I wish I would have put pizza rolls at one in hindsight.
Yeah.
If we're going to go ahead.
I was just going to say, if Pop-Tarts was just straight up Pop-Tarts, any flavor, I think that would have been a great number one. But
I think
that's why we got to throw curveballs in there.
Yeah.
I think I'm very comfortable with the top three. Like they could be any order in the top three. Other than that, it's maybe where it gets a little bit shaky for me.
All right. So if you, fun factoid, Kelby is going to rank you 1 out of 7 on this list of how you all did. So going to leave it up on the screen for her for a second to go ahead and rate you guys here. But shout out my beautiful fiance for helping us out here today. What a great time here on the Sports Outlet Show before we get back to sports. But let's see. How would I adjust this? Oh, you got a 5 out of 7. That's not bad. That's not bad, fellas.
That's generous.
I'll take it.
I would have given it a 0. And I helped make it, so.
It's definitely not your worst list of all time.
It was
I've
pretty
seen
bad.
worse.
It's pretty bad.
You know,
We're honest here.
We're honest here on the Sports Outlet Show. That's funny. Anyways, back to football. So I know we'll lose all of our best fans. So back to football, I guess. Anyways, let's kick it over to a story team of 2025. Here we go with the Florida State Seminoles. I am taking this one over here for you. 2-10. But college football worthy, right?
Should have made the playoffs, by the way.
Should have made the playoffs, by the way. Braden, why did they not make the playoffs? Can you explain that to me?
Well, somebody got hurt. Somebody very important to the team got hurt, and they saw what they looked like without him. So
I would say so. Anyways, kicking it over to the Seminoles, 2-10, 1-7. That is an ugly thing to look at on the record-wise. Mike Norvell is going into his 6th season. Talk about a batting swing percentage going from best to worst. Obviously, having the 13-1 season the year before when Jordan Travis got hurt, and they got kicked out of the college football playoff despite being undefeated in a Power 4 conference. Mike Norvell going into his 6th year. He had a really good last 2 years in 22 and 23 at 10-3 and 12-1. That he's had 2 to 3 seasons where he's 2-3, in the seasons. He's had 2 winning, which were monsters, and then 3 on the L side of it. That was the worst FSU season since 1974. So dating back very long. Norvell, you guys may not know this, but this is just straight up respect in the world of Rev Gen and NIL and college sharing. He adjusted his salary to donate $4.5 million towards Florida State's Vision of Excellence initiative. I didn't even know that was legal. So the coach is paying for players, it kind of seems like, but you can do that now. So, you know, that's the whole debate in college football. With that, I mean, there are a lot of transfers on this team. I think I looked the other day, and like 15 of the 22 starters were in yellow, which means they were not Seminoles last season, and not many of them went to the draft either. So defensive tackle Daryl Jackson is one of their key returning starters. He had 49 tackles and 4 tackles for loss last year with 3.5 sacks. He won the Bobby Bowden Leadership Award, which I think is something we should always shout out, our exemplary athletes on the field and off the field. And oh boy, do I have a story for you. I'll go with the top transfer first. Wide receiver Deuce Robinson is my guy to watch, coming from Southern California from the Trojans. him and Miller Moss, which we'll mention in a little bit later this podcast, were supposed to be the next Caleb Williams and Zachariah Branch, but they sure were not. He had 23 receptions, 396 yards, and 5 touchdowns in his season last year. But these are not the players we're talking about. We're talking about stud quarterback Tommy Castellanos. Mentioned him earlier. Started down there in Central Florida, went up north to Boston College, was a little too cold for him, so he decided to come back to the Sunshine State in Tallahassee to be the starter for the Seminoles this upcoming season. He was 11-10 at Boston College, and last year he threw for 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 5 picks. But Castellanos is not known for his arm, but his legs. He had 93 carries, 194 yards, and a touchdown last year, which was a little underwhelming for him as in years past with the speed he has. As we may know at Florida State's schedule, who did they play week 1, Braden? You may not know. It's okay.
You got me there.
Okay, it's okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I might be wrong too, but I believe it's Alabama. Here is the quote that Tommy Castellanos said about Alabama, and I quote, "I dreamed of moments like this. I dreamed of playing against Alabama. They don't have Nick Saban to save them. I just don't see them stopping me."
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
Talk about bulletin board material from a guy that went 11-10 at one of the worst ACC schools.
It's going to work.
He's got it.
There are 2 definitions of this. Either he's going to get destroyed and it's going to be on every message board, or he's going to win and become TikTok famous. There's no in between. Just goodness gravy gracious. For the Seminoles, they are set at 7.5 for their over/under. 5 and 7 is my floor for them. 9 and 3 is my ceiling. Well, there you go. Their week 1 game to watch is week 1 versus Alabama as well. Another August 30th game, so a loaded slate with that, Syracuse, Tennessee, and then we mentioned earlier on, if I can remember, Clemson. Oh, geez, I already forgot. It's okay. Huh?
Clemson and LSU.
Thank you. Clemson and LSU. See, Braden, you helped me out there. I have this team, definitely an interesting season for them. I have them going 7-5. It's hard to say they're going to take a step up from next year, but I feel pretty good about it, Braden.
It's a low bar.
Speaking of which, Brent, you had this team last year at 9-3.
Yeah.
What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm honestly shocked at the fact that, well, obviously shocked at the fact that they went 2-10, but the fact that their over under is 7.5 after a 2-win season. That's dicey.
I don't think anybody.
Usually the sports books are right, so we'll see where we're at here when football starts.
That's true.
I don't think anybody could have predicted that. So Brent, I don't blame you.
Yeah. And I feel like 9 wins at the time, like that was honestly like a little pessimistic.
They were ACC contenders for sure.
Yep.
For sure. You know, DJ Uiagalelei.
Mm-hmm.
It all started off that upset against Georgia Tech. We'll talk about it later. Fun fact for Florida State is they are the only college football stadium fully enclosed in a brick building. So welcome to Doak. We have Hokie Stone. They have brick and a 2-10 record. So
I like it.
I shouldn't say that. We play them in there on my birthday. So tell me about the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Yeah, as you all know, Pitt Panthers play in Heinz Field.
Thank you.
Yeah. They went 7-6 last year, 3-5 in the conference. And gentlemen, this team started the season 7-0. They were ranked as high as number 18 at one point before losing 6 straight, including the Sports Bowl versus Toledo, 46-48 and 6 overtimes. So everything started so right and then completely fell apart for this team. Pat Narduzzi's in his 11th season. He's gone 72-56 so far. My player to watch for them is going to be senior running back Desmond Reed. Last year, he had 988 rush yards, 5 touchdowns on 5.3 yards per carry, but he's also a weapon out of the backfield. He was tied for the first in the team in 2024 with catches, with 52 of them, and he was second in receiving yards with 579. He also had 4 receiving touchdowns. My top transfer coming in is actually a couple guys. It's going to be 2 offensive linemen to protect their quarterback. It's going to be Kendall Stanley out of Charlotte. He's a junior, and he's an interior offensive lineman. He played tackle for Charlotte, but he's pretty versatile, so he's going to slide inside for Jeff Percy, senior offensive tackle out of Michigan, to play on the left tackle spot. Their quarterback was sacked 43 times last year. That's 7th most in the FBS. So they really needed some help there on the offensive line, and they're really hoping these guys can be the answer. Their over-under is projected at 5.5. I have their floor at 3-9 and their ceiling at 8-4. The most important game, Brent actually talked about it last week. It's going to be the backyard brawl in week 3 versus WVU in Morgantown. It's a year which neither team is expected to be great. Fans will have no doubt this one circled on their calendar. Pitt won last year 38-34, and they lead the rivalry 63-41-3. They haven't won back-to-back brawls since 2007 and 2008, so that'd be a huge match. It's been a long time. So that would be huge for them in a season where their win total isn't expected to be super high. Speaking of, I have them going 5-7 this year and missing a bowl. Last year, Brent talked about them. He had them going 3-9, and they overperformed, going 7-6. Like I mentioned earlier, starting the season 7-0, and then just garbage after that.
It was a season of highs and lows.
Yep.
One big roller coaster.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, it's all about the fact that it's Heinz Field and you got it right. So
Thank you.
Also, you want to hear a Pittsburgh fun fact?
Yes.
Let's do it.
The Pittsburgh Pirates swept the Detroit Tigers this week. So best team in the AL just got swept.
Wow.
That is a really good fun fact considering the Pirates record.
Wow.
I can't talk. The Nats suck too. So
we you know what? After the College Summer Super Series, we're doing a baseball deep dive. We haven't done one of those yet. So coming soon, AL, NL, you heard it here first if you're hanging out with us here on this beautiful Wednesday night. Let's kick it over to the Go Cuse.
Yes, the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse, they were complete chaos last year, and beautiful chaos at that. They went 10-3, lit up defenses through the air, and pulled off a wild Holiday Bowl win, and maybe most importantly, torched Miami's playoff dreams for good measure. Not bad for Fran Brown's year 1 with Syracuse. But I will say, 9 of those 13 games were decided by one score. The margin for error was razor thin, and the 2025 schedule is brutal. I will get to more of that in just a second. But first, quarterback Kyle McCord is gone, but LSU transfer Ricky Collins has major upside as a dual threat. He'll need to grow up fast because the Orange will be tested weekly. Thankfully, defensive back Deuce Chestnut is back to lead a feisty defense. He hits, he covers, and yeah, he might be related to the glizzy, gobbling Joey Chestnut. You heard it here first. They might be related. We need a blood test. Just don't check the skin color. Never mind. Fran Brown is building something, even if the results dip this upcoming year. I don't have a game to watch for you boys because if you're a Syracuse fan, I think you might want to tune out this season. Here's Syracuse's schedule from weeks 4 to 11. At Clemson, Duke, at SMU, Pitt, which they could win that one. They could win that one, but I wouldn't say it's a layup by any means. At Georgia Tech and Haynes King, who we'll get into it, but I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in all of college football. The new look Belichick coached UNC, at Miami, and at Notre Dame.
I'm out of fingers. I had 1-7.
Brutal.
Yep. It's a rough stretch. I don't see them winning more than one game out of that series. And that's not even considering kickoff week 1 against Tennessee in Atlanta.
Absolutely brutal.
Yep. It's the day before we're down there in Atlanta watching Virginia Tech play South Carolina. It's a big yikes. Probably one of the rougher schedules in college football. And with that being said, my prediction is a measly 3-9. They just got kicked in the butt this year by their opponents.
Somebody squeezed them a little too hard and made orange juice.
Orange juice, exactly.
Man. Wow. Pulp or no pulp?
With pulp, because with pulp is worse.
Yes, absolutely.
Well said. They got turned from Sunny D to pulp orange juice.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that happened.
Lots of pulp in there.
That's depressing. Brent, I'm glad you kicked on it a little bit. You touched on it. We're going to kick it over to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, which were a really, 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 really interesting team if you want to talk about a roller coaster of emotions in 2024. The Yellow Jackets going in, another coach named Brent Key. There's a lot of Brents, and we're going to get to a few more, at least one more. I know there's at least one more. And Brent Aledra, head coach of the Sports Outlet Show. So we're working on getting our roster together.
Joe's starting quarterback. Braden is holder.
Nice. Let's go.
We need some offense. I don't know. We'll do our best. Anyways, Brent Key is going into his fourth season, who's 14-9 in ACC play, so went a little different than his typical record. Obviously, the hot start to last year, going into Dublin, Ireland, week 0. Seamus was on there making a fuss, ready to rock and roll on College game day, and they go in and they beat Florida State, and everybody's going wild, right? Fitzgerald nails the kick, it's over. And then we learn that Florida State goes 2-10. So let's back to earth. But you know who's not on this earth? It's quarterback Haynes King, who is an absolute beast that doesn't get mentioned enough. Haynes King is the definition of just an absolute animal on the football field, both with his legs and his incredible throwing talent. I'm huge on this kid. I think he is a deal breaker. He's as big as you can be in close games. He's gritty. He should be a 5th to 7th round talent pick at worst on day 3 of the NFL draft. Whoever's picking him, they're going to get somebody that's going to show up every day and work. Last season, he had 2,100 yards on the air with 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So talk about having ball self-control. 114 carries, 578 yards on the ground, and another 11 tutties with his legs. Just an absolute beast is what the Yellow Jackets have at QB, and they have not had that for a long, long, long time. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, not to mention, and over 100 yards on the ground against the Georgia Bulldogs, which they took to 8 overtimes before they finally lost in Week 14, which, maybe if there wasn't 2-point conversions left and right. But what a game that was. He's getting a brand new shiny wide receiver talent as well. Another guy from FIU, so a little bit of a portal to the ACC here, and Eric Rivers, who had 62 receptions, almost 1,200 yards in the air, and 12 touchdowns. Guys, not only was this kid first team All-CUSA, he's the first Florida International University player ever to be named AP third team All-American. So, you know what I'm going to say, Braden. That's nothing to sneeze at. We continue with Georgia Tech as a team that has 7.5 wins, right? Their floor for me is at 6-6. This team's making a bowl game. I think Brent Key has the right things in play. I just think this is a great team that can show an upset on any day. They almost beat Georgia. They did beat Florida State when they were red hot and fully healthy. And nobody talks about, Brent mentioned it a little bit, somebody kicked Miami on the ground and then the Orange kicked them out the door. It started with Georgia Tech beating number 4 Miami 28-23, and then the Orange kicked them out of the dome themselves. So, which was all lovely to see as Hokies fans.
They deserved it.
They really did. They really did. Big Cam Ward fan, but other than that, no. Continuing on with Georgia Tech, their game for me to watch is Week 3 versus Clemson. And not just, I feel like we have Clemson on here a lot, but there's a 2023 bad blood still rising from the 2023 game where Clemson doubled up and beat Georgia Tech 42-21. But you guys know in UFC fight nights how people play twice, 3 times, whatever. Well, we're calling this Klubnik versus King 2, as both quarterbacks were the starters in 2023, but now they're coming to Atlanta, Georgia, and let's see if Georgia Tech can pull off a big one in week 3. I'm very interested to watch that happen. I have Georgia Tech going at 8-4. I think this is a great team, and I'm going to call them the Virginia Tech Hokies of 2024. This is my dark horse college playoff team. So, riding a little bit high.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Joe. It's the Techs. But honestly, like Haynes King, absolute dog. Reminds me of Taysom Hill. Plays exactly like him.
I agree. He's the type of guy where every single third or fourth down, he will have the ball in his hands. They're not handing it off.
Yep.
So, my fun fact for you guys is Braden, I think, has already mentioned this one, but I feel like it's a great time to talk about this. You guys may know the game Georgia Tech versus Cumberland. It is the most lopsided victory in college football of a score of 222-0 in 1916. We could give another fun fact, but I think that Cumberland needs to forever remember 222 points.
It's a good fact.
Guys, please look into the lore of that game. It's quite a story.
There's a whole YouTube video on it.
Yeah. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Will things ever get better, Braden? What happened to Cumberland?
They're gone. The team does not exist anymore. The school does not exist anymore, and I'm pretty sure.
So we were talking about how Syracuse was going to go 3-9. Braden, can you tell me about a team more in shambles than the one you're about to talk about right now?
Not particularly. And Joe, you predicted it last year. You said they were going to go 4-8. They went 3-9, so you were very close. First year in the ACC, not great. 2-6 in the conference. In their conference games, they allowed 35 points per game, and they only scored 21 points per game. That's not a very good recipe for getting W's. They did somehow, some way, beat number 19 Louisville at the time, 38-35, to end a 6-game losing streak. And then they went on to lose the remaining 2 games versus Cal and San Jose State. So I have no idea what happened in that Louisville game. Very interesting there. But immediately after that loss to San Jose State at the end of the 2024 season, Stanford legend Andrew Luck was hired to be their general manager in November 2024. He quickly fired their head coach, Troy Taylor, for misconduct issues and hired Frank Reich to a 1-year interim position. Frank Reich was an NFL head coach for the Panthers and the Colts, and he coached Andrew Luck in his last season. So that's a bit of a fun pairing going on there in Stanford.
You can hardly call him a Panthers coach. Got to finish a year.
Colts action.
But their player to watch is going to be Tavara Tafiti. He's a junior offensive or outside linebacker. Last year, he had 41 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown. They are bringing in 3 transfer wide receivers to make out their starting lineup. I think the most intriguing is going to be David Pantelis. He's a senior coming out of Yale. Last year, he had 61 catches for 901 yards, 8 touchdowns, and only 10 games that they played on that schedule. So he's going to play in their slot. I think he'll be very interesting to watch. We mentioned that last year they weren't great. You predicted them to not be great. This year, Vegas predicts them to be pretty bad again at 3.5 wins. I think this hiring of Andrew Luck is going to work out for them, just not this year. It's going to take a little bit of time to build up the program. So they have their floor at 0-12, unfortunately, and their ceiling at 4-8. My game to watch is weirdly enough going to be Week 5 versus San Jose State. They lost their last 2024 regular season game after leading 31-27 late in the fourth quarter. They threw an interception at their own 37 with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to allow the Spartans to steal the win. This will leave a very bad taste in their mouth for Stanford coming into this game this season. And I think it just happens to be one of the few games that they have a chance in, and the only time they come up with a W a W in the column this season. I have them going 1-11.
So 2 notes on that is, when is the last time you ever saw a Power 4 school sign a football interim head coach to 1 year?
Yeah, I thought it was really weird when I was looking into it. Maybe if they win more than 3 games, Frank Reich will get to stick around, but I don't think so. I think they both know that this is a 1-year thing.
I feel like he has a good enough resume where I feel like you could at least give him a shot longer than 1 year.
Maybe that's all he wanted. Maybe he was like, nope.
Yeah, maybe he's close to retirement.
To me, that also says they know they're going to be bad, so they know he's not going to get a ton of wins.
Yeah. Yep.
Book it, Stanford Cardinal, ACC champs.
Frank Reich, legend.
Brent, you have the honor of talking about Lane North.
Yeah, UVA. It might not look like much, but 5-7. I guess it was progress for UVA last year. That was the best record of the Tony Elliott era, who is now in year 4. So that's not pretty. 3 of those losses last year came to teams not even on the 2025 schedule. So there is maybe a little bit of hope going into this year. The offensive line was a mess last year. The defense didn't generate pressure and mistakes piled up, but somehow they stayed a little competitive. That's why this year's manageable slate brings real optimism. Unfortunately, their biggest offseason win, Louisville transfer offensive tackle Monroe Mills, is already out for the season with a torn ACL. So their biggest transfer coming in, massive loss on that front. To pile on, top wide receiver from last year, Malachi Fields, is taking his 808 yards and potential NFL prowess to Notre Dame. So that's also a huge L for UVA. But quarterback Anthony Colandrea is out. He wasn't very good last year. And in comes quarterback Chandler Morris, a veteran gunslinger who threw for nearly 3,800 yards at North Texas. He has talent. He once started over Max Duggan at TCU, but turnovers have followed him like bad luck. On defense, linebacker Cam Robinson is the alpha. He's an all-ACC guy with real NFL tools, anchor a unit that must get more disruptive. My game to watch, it's easy. It's Week 12 versus Virginia Tech. UVA, they have not beaten the Hokies since 2019. At home, they're coming off a bye that week. Could this be the one? Let's hope not. Let's hope not, Virginia Tech fans here. My floor for this team, it's 4-8 if the line stays soft and Morris's picks pile up. Ceiling is 7-5 if the offense clicks and the defense stiffens. Overall, my record prediction is 6-6. I'm not sure if the roster is any better than last year. It might even be a little bit worse, but the schedule is definitely a lot easier. So I think they might make a bowl for the first time in a while.
Braden and I are still currently running undefeated against UVA in our 10 years Hokies. So since 2020, we've been representing.
Let's go.
Let's do it one more time.
Yep.
And another time. And then another time. And then another time. That'd be lit.
In perpetuity.
Continue to win the Commonwealth Clash. So let's head over to Louisville, one of these sneaky teams to watch for this upcoming season, with Jeff Brome going into his 3rd season with the Cardinals. Definitely an interesting season to watch. He was previously tenured at Purdue with a 36-34 record. Sports Illustrated is calling Brome the 2nd best coach in the ACC. So somebody to look out for, according to their article as well. One of their biggest games, guys, last year, they beat Clemson 32-21 last season, which was a huge victory for them. And just last year, they seemed to be firing on all cylinders, especially on the offensive side of the ball. My guy to watch there for you is going to be wide receiver Chris Bell. He's a senior. He's a big play threat and clutch performer. He had 43 receptions, 737 yards, and 4 touchdowns last season. Who's throwing him the ball? We mentioned him a little earlier. USC's transfer, Southern California, Miller Moss, who was supposed to be the next Caleb Williams, but fell just very short. And we'll talk about Lincoln Riley next week. And speaking of coaches on the hot seat. He had 2,555 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Not great with the style of offense that USC is used to performing with. Gets a fresh start in Louisville, so he's close to some really good whiskey, even if he's not very good. But I do think that Miller Moss is going to turn out pretty well on this Louisville Cardinal team. A little bit about him. Everybody remembers in 2023 when he had the most touchdowns in Holiday Bowl history, and as a USC quarterback on their first start, when Caleb Williams decided to sit out and quit on his team. We'll talk about that later. First overall pick, but that was against, in the Holiday Bowl, number 16 at the time, your Louisville Cardinals. So they saw something and they went ahead and picked it up. He had 372 yards, 6 touchdowns, and an interception when USC won that game 42-28. Now trying to put the W in the win column for the Cardinals. Their over-under set at 8.5, which I think Louisville will be another very respectable team in the ACC this season. Their floor for me is at 7-5. Their ceiling's at 11-1. My game to watch for them is going to be Week 8 versus Miami. I think it's one of their biggest opponents of the year to see what they can do against Carson Beck and company. I think it's their first really big test as well. I have them going 9-3. I'm a fan of Miller Moss. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think Chris Bell is a great leader on the offensive front. And if the defense can keep teams under 30, 35 points, I think they should be just fine. My fun fact, and I apologize, I have story time for you guys. So give me just 1 second to look it up again, because it's a handful and it's in memory of someone that you guys will enjoy. So give me 1 second. It has to do with turkey and Thanksgiving. So I think you guys will be. It's not giving me what I needed. Sorry for being ill prepared here, guys. So unprofessional. So unprofessional.
It's all good, man.
So, of course, it's not giving it to me. We'll kick it over to the Virginia Tech Hokies here for a minute, and then I will give you your story. Don't worry. I got you.
I hope you guys, when Joe said story time, you got your popcorn ready because you're going to need it for this team. 6-7, 4-4 in conference. Last year, Joe and I split this team. We talked about them together. I had them going 9-3. Joe had 10-2. Didn't happen. Let's talk about some lowlights.
I'd just like to give the same records as Pat McAfee. What do you want me to say?
Let's talk about some lowlights from last season. Week 1, all this offseason hype, college football playoff dark horses, ACC champion dark horses. We open the season in Nashville against Vanderbilt. We lose in overtime. Ouch. Week 4, we lose to Rutgers. Ouch. Week 5, we have an inspired, emotional performance against top 10 Miami that ends with a game-winning Hail Mary that is ruled a touchdown and then overturned. Ouch. That
one hurts the most.
And then even after all of these, Week 10, somehow the ACC hopes are still alive. Drones is injured against Syracuse, and Colin Schlee leads the game to overtime, and we lose. Yep. And then to cap it all off, we lose Mayo Bowl against Minnesota, 24-10. So it was a very rough season, but there is some positives to look at. 5 Hokies drafted, which is the first time that's happened in a while. Bashaw Tootin went to Jacksonville. Jalen Lane went to Washington. Dorian Strong, Buffalo. APR, Antoine Power Island, Philadelphia, Go Birds, and Aeneas Peebles went to Baltimore. So we're happy for all our Hokies there. They did great. They deserved it. Brent mentioned Daquan Felton on the Giants. He's also a beast. But yeah, now we've mentioned it a couple of times on this podcast. Coaches on the hot seat. Brent Pry is in his 4th season. He's gone 16-21 so far. I had 2 fun facts here for Brent Pry. He is 0-6 in non-conference power opponents. That's WVU, Rutgers twice, Purdue, Vanderbilt, and Minnesota. We're not even playing like Michigan or Ohio State or Alabama. Rutgers, Purdue, Minnesota, Vanderbilt. What are we doing?
That's rough.
And the stat that we all have come to know and hate, he's 1-12 in one-score games. That is absolutely abysmal, and it's heartbreaking every time we see one of those games. I do have good things to say about Brett Pry. I love the way he's building the culture. He's repairing relationships in Virginia. He's being active in the transfer portal. That's very positive. It just hasn't translated on the field so far. My player to watch that's returning, we did lose a lot of guys to the transfer portal and the draft, as I mentioned. Caleb Woodson is a junior linebacker. Last year, he had 72 tackles, which was second on the team, 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 interception, and 2 pass breakups. And he pairs very well with another linebacker, Jaden Keller, who racked up 83 tackles of his own and led the team very quietly. My top transfer in is going to be 2 offensive linemen once again, Thomas Rymack, senior right tackle out of WVU, and Kyle Alturner, redshirt freshman center out of WVU. These are 2 of 4 WVU offensive line transfers, and those are the 2 that are currently slated to start and make an immediate impact. Our over-under is set at 6.5. I think I have our floor at 5 and 7, and our ceiling would be very optimistic, 9 and 3. Our schedule isn't all that terrible. There's some very losable games, but there's also some very winnable games. The game to watch, I wish I could say it's week 1 in Mercedes-Benz Stadium against South Carolina. I wish I could say it's Miami, the rematch in Blacksburg this time, or even the Commonwealth Clash. You know we have that circled on our calendars anyway. It's actually week 2 versus Vanderbilt. This game has gargantuan implications on the future of the Brett Pry era. Vanderbilt is coming into our house this time, and this game is an absolute must-win. If we can't pull this one out, we're likely 2-2 going to ACC play, and the future of the season relies entirely on conference performance. If we win and we set aside our 2024 demons, we start 3-1 and can focus on the bigger games ahead. As I mentioned, if we lose, I can't imagine the team morale, the fan morale to be very high for Brett Pry continuing on in the season after that. And I can imagine it's going to be hard to get guys motivated. So let's go out and win it, and let's just not have to worry about that. I have us going 7 and 5, which might be a little optimistic. We'll see what happens.
What are the expectations for Kyron Drones this year?
That's a good question.
I cannot figure out the guy. Personally.
Yeah, me neither. I think he was injured all season last year. That's why I wanted to highlight the offensive line guys as well. They need to protect him. He got sacked a lot last year, a lot of tackles for loss. I still think he's got some talent. I don't think he's going to play very well, if at all, at the next level. But I think he's got the arm talent. He's got some improvisation. He just needs to stay healthy, I think. Worst case scenario, we got Pop Watson waiting.
Yep, Pop Watson. I don't know if that's any better, but
yeah,
hopefully Drones can get back to 2023 because he had a really good year in 2023.
Yeah,
so
he was a beast.
We'll see what we can do.
Go Hokies. That's what I can say.
Go Hokies.
To be fair. Hey, I have your Louisville Cardinals story for you real quick. It's about somebody that's making his final case in Columbus, Ohio. It's a story about Lee Corso and Thanksgiving. How many of you had heard about the 1969 motivational Louisville turkey stop?
Nope.
All right, here we go. Story time, strap in. So in 1969, Lou Corso took over Louisville's football program. Team was terrible. They had one winning season since the 1950s. Ticket sales were dropping. And Corso, we all know him. He was anything but going to let that happen. So before a Thanksgiving game against Tulsa, Louisville was 4-1, looking on the edge of their first winning season. Corso decides he's going to go and purchase a live turkey and paint a big, bright red L on it. He integrated it into the team's week practice drills, team meetings, campus walkthroughs, and was even out there for the coin toss against Tulsa. Corso was even seen walking this turkey around on a leash and training this turkey. By halftime in Tulsa, Louisville was trailing at the time. What Corso didn't tell the players beforehand is that he had bet with the Tulsa coach that if Louisville lost, Tulsa could take the turkey and eat it. Little terrifying, right?
Yeah.
The chat says that may have been fiction, but it lit a fire in Louisville. Down the stretch, the Cards needed one stop. Corso pulled his team into the huddle and says 4 words, "Men, save our turkey." And they got the stop. The result, Corso and the turkey were carried off the field by the just elevated players, cementing the bird and coach as local legends. Lee Corso as his first year as a head coach, everybody.
Retiring this year.
A legend.
Could you imagine just Pat Anderson bringing in Roscoe for us and being like, if we lose, this team goes to Millbrook. We'd win it. Well, we did win every time, but we win every time.
I like
There's
it.
your Louisville story.
Good story.
Brent, finish me out with Wake.
Yeah, Wake Forest. After a 4-8 season, Wake needed a fresh start, and they got one with former Washington State head coach Jake Dickert, who somehow kept the Cougs afloat through chaos and built solid offenses despite his defensive roots. Now in Winston-Salem, he inherits a Wake team that has been drifting since Sam Hartman left town. The defense was awful last year. Like, only one guy was good. Awful. That one guy was Nick Anderson, a tackling machine at safety who will be counted on again while new defensive coordinator Scotty Hazelton tries to figure out what's going on. On offense, it all comes down to quarterback play. Either Robbie Ashford from South Carolina or Deshaun Purdy from Charlotte will take the reins, and both bring dual threat ability. If Dickert can squeeze out a Cam Ward level jump from one of these guys, which that'd be kind of a spicy take at this point, things will get hot for him. Their top transfer, and I'm probably butchering the name, it's offensive tackle Fali Famoe, who followed Dickert from Wazoo and gives Wake some sorely needed help up front. It was a massive win as he was one of the best tackles in the portal. My game to watch is Week 4 versus Georgia Tech. Wake hasn't beaten Georgia Tech since a weird 9-6 ACC title win in 2006. So at home, with a chance to start 4-0, this could be a momentum maker or just another missed opportunity. My floor for this team, 2-10 if the quarterback situation collapses and the defense stays broken. And ceiling is 6-6 if the offense hums early and the defense becomes passable. My prediction is 4-8.
What a great way to end the ACC for sure.
Yep.
Big fan. Awesome. That is your Atlantic Coastal Conference, or who knows, it could be the ACCC soon, Braden. The Atlantic Coast to Coast. But one of the best conferences in college football. We have 2 more coming up with you here on the Sports Outlet Show. Thanks for hanging out with us this Wednesday. Make sure to check us out for the Big Ten Breakdown next Wednesday, same time here at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. For all you folks in Norman still watching, I appreciate you. Your host, Joe Wagner, here with my hosts as well, Brent Allegra and Braden Wilkins, tuning out here on this Wednesday night. Make sure, exactly 1 month from today, we have week 0 play in college football. So it's time to get ready. And next week, Canton, Ohio is kicking off. So it is just around the corner. It's my favorite part of the summer series. So, well, that's our ACC for tonight. Appreciate you all hanging out with us. We're definitely biased to go Hokies. Let's go win a natty. See you next time.
Do it.